Next door to the mongrel mob headquarters was burnt to a shell.
He was rushed to Hawke's Bay Hospital with gunshot wounds to his lower back and his stomach.
Follows the arrest of 4 mongrel mob members in connection with Thursday's torching.
My name is Martika Brent. I'm also known as Mad Marty 13 or Skin Dog. I'm one of the founding members of Mighty Mongrel Mob Aotearoa, and on my head I have tattooed Mighty Mongrel Mob Aotearoa Seek Fucking Hell. My patch to me, it's my heart, my soul. The mob symbolised freedom, pure freedom. It was like the Wild West. There was no law really to us. You could do what you like back in those days. Anything went. And it was just an adrenaline rush. Even without alcohol, drugs, the wars with the other gangs, everything, it was just excitement. And there was girls, a different girl every day. Girls loved the mob. Mongrel mob life to me was freedom. My upbringing in Christchurch was very strict. Because of my strict life, I was seeking attention. I'd do things to seek attention, nothing overly bad. I started off by smoking cigars in the class, putting rubbish tins over teachers' heads, took a teacher's car, crashed it in the river outside the school, and my mother had me committed to a psychiatric unit and put on about 30-odd pills a day. I didn't like the drugs that they were giving me. They were doing things to my head and I refused to take them. What happened, I escaped from Sunnyside. I took one of their cars. I'd never driven a manual car and I had these little racing overalls on or something, and there was a police chase through Christchurch. I could hardly see over the steering wheel, so I was short at that age. They set up roadblocks. I'd just go on the footpath about 60 mile an hour. By the time I'd just turned 16, I was living on the streets, eating out of rubbish tins, stripping for celebrities for money. Then actually joined the mob, and mob were just like whānau to me. True family, everything was more real. Back in my day, being a Pākehā wasn't the easiest thing in the mob. Most chapters only had one Pākehā member or maybe two or none. Because by then I loved the Māori people. The Māori people I found to me had soul, whereas most Pākehā people I'd met had no soul. Māori people were so full of soul and heart. In my mid-20s, I was a law unto myself. I did what I wanted. I respected no one else. I'd walk into other gangs' pubs, I'd walk into their pads. Usually I'd wake up in hospital wondering what happened, but I would just do anything. I wanted to die so many times, but it never sort of happened. I was always saved in one way or another. I started racing in the 70s at a speedway down south, and a couple of the mob grabbed a couple of cars too. My children and bringing up my children, I'd have to say saved me as a person. So I've raised 4 of my own children, plus another 6 from welfare by myself. I stopped everything else like my business, Speedway, everything, so I can concentrate. That was my life, bringing them up, my main focus. I got that used to it. I started looking after other children. Children really teach us so much that we don't even realise it sometimes. I remember I thought to myself, how am I going to do this? I've never done anything like this before. But the hardest thing was I'd never cried before, I'd never hugged, I'd never loved. I had to learn how to hug them. I had to learn how to love them, which they taught me how to do. That was the hardest thing, coming from where I was in the mob and doing what I did in the mob to doing that. That was the hardest thing to learn. So it was hard because they always wanted to cuddle me, and I was cuddling them and I wasn't feeling anything at first, and I didn't know how to, because I never had those feelings before, because I'd never been hugged or cuddled, you know. I was like an iceberg, a solid rock. I remember when The Lion King first came out and we were watching it, and I actually cried, you know. And then I realised, geez, my kids are actually changing me. I sat there and cried watching a bloody movie. I couldn't believe it. You know, oh my God, what's happening to me? And then I realised I'm becoming a real person. All that armour's being stripped away. I finally got a heart. See a man who used to live by fighting would always take on more than one person. Didn't care if he got a hiding, walking into other gangs, pubs and that. No fear whatsoever. And then his children can melt him like that. You know, that's powerful. It's real powerful. The whole journey of bringing up the children was just an amazing discovery of myself. It was. I'm nearly crying now talking about it, you know.